Welcome to today's KMWorld Roundtable webinar, brought to you by SearchBlock Software Inc., eGain, and Lucy. I'm Mary D. Ojala, Conference Program Director, Information Today, Inc. I will be the moderator for today's broadcast. Our presentation today is titled The Top Trends in KM for 2022.
Thanks, Mary D. Thanks, John. Hey, it's great to be able to join you again, especially as you mentioned, we got a great start on 2022, and hopefully we have some positive evolution coming forth that hopefully takes us out of the last couple of years. Anyway, let me introduce myself real quickly. I joined eGain as VP of Engineering a little over a decade ago, and I've had responsibility as VP of Technology as well, and also helped define some new products and some new technologies, possibly even some new business models. So as a result, I get to be our technology evangelist today. And it's actually quite a fun experience because I get to engage in events like this. I get to talk to interesting partners, customers, analysts, and it's a really great way to really see what's going on and actually talk a little bit about eGain. Just FYI, my Twitter handle is Sam Han, just my name, SAMHAHN, if you'd like to tweet about this. And so I'm really going to give you a slightly summarized insight based on what we've seen in the last couple of years, okay? So I'm going to talk about what we saw in the last few years where CIOs and CTOs really said, hey, we really need to engage with our customers in a digital fashion, okay? We'll talk about some of the issues they found, and then we'll talk about how to address some of those issues, and then we'll actually make you an offer kind of at the end of my section here, okay? So as I alluded to just a couple seconds ago, it used to be a very high priority. If you surveyed CTOs and CIOs and said, what do you really want to do for your business? A lot of them were saying for the last 2, 3, 4 years, they needed to engage with their customers on a digital medium. And in fact, as we've seen with COVID and we've seen with some of the shutdowns that we've all experienced over the last 2+ years, this actually was accelerated because no matter who you were, your enterprise probably had a number of backlog items, future items, roadmap items that said, hey, I'm going to put in this digital pipe. I'm going to actually engage using video. I'm going to engage on chat. I'm going to engage with my web self-service channel. I'm going to engage on Facebook or whatever it is. So all of that was on the product enterprise roadmap. And in fact, what COVID has done is it said, hey, can't afford to put this on the roadmap. You got to do it now. And this is starting about 2 years ago, right? We all remember that. And so there was a huge investment. A lot of money got put into all of these channels. But what happened? Okay. So what happened was all of these pipes got laid. You now have a pipe from the agent to the customer, and it's now going through chat, or it's going through email, or it's going through web self-service, or it's going through Instagram, or Twitter, or Facebook, or Apple Business, or Amazon, or Google. I mean, the number of options available where customers want to engage with the enterprise is tremendous. And it's way beyond just simple chat and email as it was even just a decade ago. But then what did customers experience? Our surveys, and certainly other surveys, corroborated this, were that there was still a high level of customer dissatisfaction with the level of engagement and the engagement experience across some of these new channels. Now, why was that? Well, let's imagine that you had to build a number of pipes in your house. Well, clearly these pipes are going to carry something, right? And you'd rather they carry clean water. You would rather they carry some gems, but you certainly don't want sludge going through there, and you certainly don't want that to be coming out on the other end where you expect somebody to get very clean water. So that's kind of a very rough analogy or a metaphor, in that a lot of investment into the pipes was necessary, but insufficient, okay? So it resulted in the fact that, hey, this experience just resulted in still a very high number of contact center agents that hate their tools. Now there's just more tools for them to deal with. Also, their knowledge base, their training, the actual things they could say to the customer were still what they were seeing several years ago. The pipes were there. Now they can actually deliver the message in a different way, but the message itself wasn't really changing. And then if you got the customer coming to the web self-service site, again, you're seeing the same problem, right? Self-service was resulting in 90% of them abandoning their journeys on the website because they're saying, this is not really telling me what I need to know. And that's not very good if you're a CIO or a CTO, right? It's definitely a problem. So we actually rushed to add these channels without really looking at what's going through those pipes. And what is going through those pipes? What we really want to go through those pipes is good solutions, good information, good experience, right? Good interactions, good engagement with the agents or whomever is that's participating in that channel. We also saw that if we even had the perspective that, let's say, boomer generations and older folks were quite reticent and reluctant to actually get onto these channels, we found that. But we also found that once they got there, they want to start using these channels more. There's some stickiness to these channels. And from a workplace standpoint, a lot of these people are not coming back. We've all seen this, right? We've all seen that people are now creating a new normal. And it's not just a great resignation where people are looking for better workplace options for themselves. They're actually saying, I'm done. I'm going to retire. And so it's not just a great resignation. I think we heard this term. There's a great retignation, retirement option that's being exercised by a number of the boomers. So Pew has identified, just as I've been alluding to up till now, that really we need to send better content through these pipes. And that means using knowledge, leveraging knowledge, so that what is actually being sent through these pipes and sent on these sessions and experienced through these new channels is high quality. Okay, it doesn't surprise us when you put it in that perspective, but it actually does definitely justify where the next set of investments need to be. So not just we have done this, but Gartner has done this, and I'm sure you've seen other surveys as well. Gartner, quote, knowledge management is the #1 technology that can simultaneously elevate customer, agent, and business experiences in 2022 and beyond. #1, okay? No longer laying pipes. It's all now about really putting good things through the pipe so that the customer experience can be much higher. Now, in a roundtable like this, we don't have a lot of time to talk about the hows, but I do want to talk to you about what can happen if you do pay such attention and put a priority on the knowledge flowing through these channels, and then what that does to the customer experience. Back when I was in a AI program at Stanford, in fact, the term of the day, in fact, it was used by a lot of people in passwords, was in the knowledge lies the power. And I don't know Latin, but I think the concise Latin form of that is scientia potentia est. In the knowledge lies the power. And I think we can attribute that to Thomas Hobbes and others. But what we really know is, and it's always been expressed as garbage in, garbage out, right? So if we focus on making the knowledge high quality and relevant and findable, as John was talking about, then all of a sudden now the agent is happier, the customer is happier, the sessions are shorter, the callbacks are less frequent. And so I'm just going to give you a few examples of that. Here's one example where we got 30,000 contact centers in a global telco with over 5,000 store associates. When they converted to using a knowledge hub, which actually put relevant knowledge in the relevant sessions, prioritized appropriately so that the agent had easy access to it and the customer had easy access to it on their web self-service sections, here's the kind of results you can see. For example, you can actually see that the first contact resolution improvement goes up by 35%. Not only is that a good number, but what that results in is obviously the return calls and dissatisfied calls and the bad survey results. Those of you that invest in Net Promoter System, otherwise known as Net Promoter Score, know how hard it is to even reach single-digit improvements in Net Promoter numbers. But what if you could actually get 25 absolute value points in NPS improvement? That's worth millions, sometimes tens of millions to some of these large organizations. Because when you see your customer base become champions for you, all of a sudden the agent's happier, the business is happier, customers are happier, business is growing. And look at the next sort of things. If you can take 50% of the investment out of your training time so that you can actually get new agents competent in half the time, because they're learning the simple techniques of a platform. They're not actually having to go through lots of detailed documentation about all the plethora of products that you're coming up with every year. They're just learning how to interact with your knowledge management system, which has been carefully crafted so that all this new information is immediately at their fingertips. So in this particular case, we had an investment that clearly was justified because of these numbers at the scale that this company was operating in. Okay. Now, the next example I'm going to give you here is a government agency, very large government agency. Oh, in fact, we even cite them. This is the IRS. And so they decided to work with us only, half a decade ago. And they were seeing improvements in the average handle time that were just tremendous, right? How would you like to wait 28 minutes for the next agent to actually get with you? And there were 20 million unanswered calls every year, okay? So what they were able to do was now they put some smart deflection while people were waiting in their IVR system, and 70% of these offers were actually accepted. So now, rather than waiting on a phone call, you could actually then engage with them with a virtual assistant and start addressing their issue without them waiting that 28 minutes. The agent engagement also was able to then improve them to about 92nd percentile, where previously they were at about 67 percentile. And this is actually documented survey result. Also, they saw a 25% reduction in just the amount of time required in order to just handle each issue from every customer. And now you've got 4x, 400%, is that 5x? Yeah, 5x, more taxpayer services per hour using knowledge as compared to what they were doing before. Those are huge changes, especially at the scale that the IRS operates. Here's another example of a health insurance form. Okay, here's an example where if you look at what's going through the pipes, you saw a number of agents that had to then stop going to the retail center, and they were repurposed in a sense, so they were actually having to work remotely. And they were able to achieve this with a good knowledge management system without impacting their performance metrics. They're also able to see 33% reduction in the agent training time. This all happens when you pay very careful attention to how you set up the knowledge, how you actually make sure that it's relevant, in context, and then immediately and quickly accessible. This is an organization that handles 5 million healthcare customers. Imagine what these 33% reduction actually does to your absolute costs. And here's the direct quote. All my agents love eGain's knowledge. It's super efficient, easy to utilize, single source of truth. I use it daily. By the way, that's another point I want to focus on, is that if we are actually able to have agents adopt the interaction process and actually make sure that they're compliant with what our system is helping them do, all of a sudden your auditability goes way up. And your percentage of sessions that are not compliant with regulations goes way down. This is one of the interesting things we've seen, that you don't go into it necessarily thinking that, but it's a huge benefit. So one of the things that we want to make is an offer, okay, in that we don't have a lot of time in Roundtable, as I mentioned right now, for us to spend talking about exactly how we do this. But if you'd like to engage, we would like to take all the risk and make sure that we give you an offer that says, hey, we're going to go look through your website. We're going to crawl it a little bit. We're going to take a look at some of your top anticipated use cases, and we're going to show you off the shelf what your customer experience could be if you utilized our knowledge management solution. If we actually just, even in less than 4 weeks, just take a look at what we could do just on our own with no risk to you. This means no cost to you. All it takes is a few phone calls. All we just need is a few phone calls from you to say, yes, I'd like to take a look at this and show me what you can do. Okay. So this we call our Innovation in 30 Days program. It says all the onus is on us. We take all the risk. We put in all the work. You just take a look at the customer experience once we're done with this. We'll show you interim milestone results at 2, 3, and 4 weeks. And within a month, you can actually see the power of what a well-crafted, mature knowledge management solution could do for your business and for your customers. So I just want to say, this little saying about knowledge is power truly can be revolutionary to your business if done the right way. Take a perspective where it says you're going to begin, you're going to nurture, you're going to grow, you're going to improve, you're going to then learn. It's a learning mindset. And if you do, and you really choose to do it, we will make it actually quite easy for you. And that is our goal in life, is to help make it effective and easy for you to basically leverage all of this stuff you've been hearing. Thank you.